The Red Bull driver drama in 2024 continues with Sergio Perez officially announcing his departure from Red Bull for the 2025 season, and a shitstorm has followed. It's only been about an hour since the announcement came out, and a lot of people aren't happy, and specifically his Spanish, Mexican fans, whatever. They are in all the comment sections. They're not happy. So we're here to go over what Christian Horner has to say about it and the social media posts and backlash from Red Bull. And then at the end, we'll talk about who's likely to replace him and what's going to happen there and what's next for the team. So let's get started with this Christian Horner interview. It's only about a minute long. I think this was just for this announcement. And they're going to ask him essentially when they decided that Checo wasn't going to be it for next
At
year.
what point did you decide that it was the time to move on from Checo going into 2025?
And keep in mind, the beginning of the season, obviously, they had double podiums, I think, the first two races, and Checo was on the podium like 4 out of the first 5 races. So they had a really good start to the season, and then it all just went to shit.
Well, basically, it's been a culmination of things. I mean, Checo started the season so strongly, 4 podiums out of 5 races.
There you go, yeah, 4
out of 5. It felt like
yeah.
he'd taken off where he'd left off last year. But then really for Monte Carlo, that race.
That really embarrassing wreck with the Haas's in the back of the grid after a terrible qualifying, getting stuck between them and then getting wrecked by Kevin Magnussen on the opening lap.
Onwards, it's been a very tough year for him, and
yeah, that's an understatement.
Tried everything, with him and supporting him, and basically he's come to his own conclusion. That
totally.
That now is
totally his decision, guys.
To step away from Formula One, to take a bit of time out.
And this is the language we've been hearing from Red Bull and Christian Horner specifically the last couple of weeks, is that they were going to let Checo come to his own conclusions and decisions on what to do next. They've been trying to get rid of him, and they were just saying, like, hey, dude, if you don't decide that you want to move on, it's going to get ugly or something, or we're going to have to make it look like we got rid of you. So, again, it's like when somebody does something wrong with their job and they resign from their job. No, they got fucking canned, dude. He got sacked.
He's been a massively popular member of our team, but he's
massively
decided that
popular.
Now is the right time for him to step away from being a Formula One driver.
On a personal level, with all of that, how difficult has it been to, I know that there's, you've
remember that he said massively popular. That's how he described it.
Team. It must have been really tough to actually get to that.
Well, of course, it's tough. I mean, Checo's been a very popular member
of
our team.
He's again.
Won 5 Grand Prix. He finished second in last year's Drivers' World Championship. He's been, the best teammate and the best pairing, the most successful pairing that we've had in our time as Red Bull Racing. So we've given it every opportunity, and I think he knows that. He's felt that.
We've given it every opportunity. I think it's important when Horner says over and over again that he's the most popular. It kind of tells you a lot about how he really feels about Checo as a driver, because all he says is he's popular. Nothing about the driving ability or anything like that. Obviously, Max Verstappen's 2021 World Championship was assisted in large part, especially towards the end of the season and in Abu Dhabi particularly, by Sergio Perez. He definitely gets credit for that. Definitely gets credit for their 2 Constructors' Championships. But also, just the same, gets credit for not giving them a chance at the Constructors' Championship this year. Certainly the car was not up to par, but third place was not in. They did not need third place this year. They could have easily had second at the very least, and could have even had first if Checo kept up to pace with Max. So Checo was the one that announced officially on his page, and as you can see down here, it says about an hour ago that he was going to retire. Puts up this video. We're not gonna go through all this, but he says, "Thank you for the 4 years, Red Bull Racing. I wish you the best." And the comments are not happy. So pretty much all of the comments are saying, like, we're going to follow you, Checo. We're unfollowing Red Bull. We don't care. This one's not as bad on his page. They're not really as angry. These people are more just like, you're great. You're amazing. Then if you go over to Red Bull's page, this was their very first post. Gracias, Checo. After 4 successful seasons together, Sergio Perez and Oracle Red Bull Racing have reached an agreement to part ways for 2025. So this was the singular post they put out first. And a lot of people thought that this was going to be the only thing they posted and were not happy that it was like one sentence pretty much just saying like thanks and he's not going to be here anymore. So maybe they should have done the video post that we'll see after this first, because Sergio deserves better. I hope he finds a team that respects him and gives him the tools to fight for wins. If that's not the most delusional shit you've ever heard in your life, I don't really know what is, because Max Verstappen won 9 Grand Prix this season? 7, 8, 9. I think it was 9 out of 24. and Perez won none and got a couple of podiums, but was never even in really contention to win a race. And the only decent performance he really had in the second half was in Baku, where he ended up crashing anyway in the fucking Carlos Sainz. Um, what the fuck do you mean respects him and gives him the tools to fight? Obviously, he has the tools to fight for wins when your teammate has 9 race wins in a season, okay? So shut up. All right, first of all, I hate that narrative. Oh, he doesn't have the tools to win. You couldn't have much more tools to win, brother. All right? You've lost a lot of fans today. Good luck, and thanks for giving Checo incredible 4 years. Yeah, I mean that's not too much cope. That's just true. It was only a matter of time. I think we all wish Checo had performed as well as he did in 2020, 2021, but that hasn't been the case for a long time now. Especially not this season. Obviously, the Max Verstappen profile picture, but especially not this season. I'm sure. I'm will anyway. Still be thankful for the things he's done. Please don't give the seat to Liam. Tsunoda deserves it. Checo deserved better. Not really. Bye, Red Bull. Let's move on to the next post. So people were kind of angry right away, and I think they are deleting some comments here. People were very angry that they just said, like, thank you. So they ended up putting this post up after that. Top comment here. Even though he messed up big time in 2024, he's been a great driver throughout his career and a great personality. Wishing him the best for his future. So decent sentiment all the way around. I'm not going to lie. When I was looking on my phone and looking at these comments, there was a lot more negative comments. They're either getting filtered out or something's going on because it was a lot of, if it's not, and this is just a translation, if it's not Checo, bye, I support Red Bull. We're off again for Ferrari. So we're all about loyalty and this and that, but then as soon as the one guy leaves the team, then there's no more loyalty to Red Bull. So it's like, whatever, dude. Listen, if Max leaves Red Bull too, I'm going to kind of tell him to fuck off too. But it doesn't mean like, oh, just fuck them. They still gave him the chance. They still had him in. They still put him in a car to get race wins and fight for constructors championships and a drivers championship, which he just wasn't good enough to do. But how are you going to say, oh yeah, off to Ferrari now? Oh, it's good. They didn't deserve Perez. Really, bro? Really? Come on, man. Red Bull is fucking terrible at handling these driver situations. Absolutely terrible. They tried middle of the season to sack Checo for Ricardo after Spa. That got blocked by FOM Liberty Media. They didn't let that happen, and it was pretty apparent at that point that they wanted Checo out. And then Checo responds with the Wolf of Wall Street post, "I'm not going anywhere." And then the entire rest of the season is them saying, oh, it's going to be his decision because they can't make any kind of indication in the media that it's what they want for him to be gone, even though it's very clear that he needs to be gone. Not only because of the lack of points in the drivers' championship, but the destructors' championship too, and the constructors. I think more importantly, the Destructors Championship, where he was in P1 with the most damage all season, about $3 million, which completely hampered their development this season. And now it's going to set them back even farther next season because they had to reinvest that time and effort into this season. So the narratives here are a little bit ridiculous. I understand that some of these fans might be upset with how they're handling it because of the last couple of, like 2020, 2021, these seasons or whatever that he did really well and did better in comparison. I get that, but open your eyes and fucking smell the coffee, man. He was shit the entire end of the season. He was perpetually in getting knocked out in Q1, not scoring points sometimes, was getting out. I think it was that Max scored like I don't know. All the stats showing the comparison between the points that he scored and that Alpine scored and that Max scored in this amount of time, it did not look good. Everybody knew that Checo should not be on that team anymore and was not performing up to the standard that he needed to be on that team, which is going to be a guaranteed pretty much top 4 minimum team in the Constructors' Championship next year. Now, here's my problem. Is Liam Lawson really a improvement? And this is why we're going to go to this comment. So now Liam will help with the car development, get all the points. That's a little bit of cope. Will be a perfect teammate with Max. Will sell lots and lots of merch and will bring great sponsorship deals. Good luck with that. To an extent, I do have to agree with that. Get all the points is probably the most ridiculous thing I've heard because what the fuck are you talking about? He's not getting any of the fucking points. So is Lawson really going to do that? And people say, oh, well, Tsunoda deserves it. Is Tsunoda going to do that, bro? Either of them? Ricardo was really their only hope, man. Their really only hope was to get Ricardo in after Spa, during the summer break, have him finish out the season, and pray to God that he found some form and could come into the next season and be that number 2 there. That didn't work out, obviously, and now Ricardo, just recently in the media, was saying that there's no way he's coming back. He's not going to Cadillac, this and that. So that seems like it's off the table. Other than Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, the only real other option is Valtteri Bottas. And that doesn't seem likely. So it comes down to Yuki and Liam Lawson. Are either of them going to be able to replace what Checo brought in terms of the development, the merch, the sponsorships, being a teammate? And with an asterisk on the being a teammate part, because while Checo was a good teammate for the certain points of and years when he was doing well, when you're starting on the grid in like P15, you ain't being a fucking teammate to Max Verstappen up in the top 4 every goddamn race. You're doing nothing from the back of the grid. So that's not being a teammate. That's just hampering him and making him. I mean, guys, the entire season, the grid, regardless of what race it was and who was faster, it was essentially always McLaren, Ferrari, Max, and then Mercedes, in whatever order. It was always the 2 teammates of these cars, of these constructors, and then Max sandwiched in there somewhere by himself, fighting against all of them. I mean, most of the season, Max had to fight against pairs of people to get through these races, pairs of teammates to get through the races, and had no help from Checo. So to say that he's a teammate for that, no. For car development, yes, because there were plenty of times this season that Checo was used as the guinea pig on new upgrades and this and that at certain tracks and testing different packages at different tracks to give Max a better chance, better idea of what package is going to work for that race. But at the same time, dude, that does not. I was gonna say it doesn't translate to points. It could translate to points, so I don't want to say that outright. If they find a certain upgrade or a certain floor or wing that's better at this track that maybe they wouldn't have found otherwise. But that's a stretch. You know what I mean? That's a stretch for trying to give him credit for anything. And yeah, Red Bull's in a shit situation now. There really is no better situation. 5 wins, 29 podiums, and only 3 pole positions. That's kind of shit too. But um, yeah, I mean 5 wins is cool, but like Max had like 9 this year, and you guys have been together for like 4 years, where he's won 4 championships in that time. So it's hard to compare him to Max Verstappen, who right now is the best driver and the 4-time reigning world champion. It's hard to make that comparison and be unbiased, but when that is your teammate and that's who you're being compared to, not a good look, especially when the last couple. I mean, the entire second half of the season, the dude was out of the points essentially. He was lucky to find himself in the points, and that was only because of how good the car was in comparison to the rest of the field and the midfielders that he had to work his way through. Even on this post, this is on the F1 post, and obviously it's with Red Bull Racing. They tagged them. People forget how good he used to be, an absolute tire whisperer with a whole lot of pace. That doesn't matter when you just cost the team $3 million during the season in damages, and then another tens of millions of dollars in the Constructors' Championship. The only benefit of that, I don't know if it's the only, but pretty much the only benefit of that is increased wind tunnel time for the next season, which they're definitely going to need. But if they still have that old busted-ass wind tunnel, it doesn't really fucking matter anyway, does it? So he didn't deserve this after 2 Constructor Championships and helping Max secure the World Drivers' Championship. I'm assuming he means 2021 because after that it was all Verstappen essentially. And even 2021, dude. You can give Checo some credit, but come on, dude. You can't just be like, oh yeah, he did it all. Definitely didn't like that. That was a mistake. Unfollow Red Bull. Like, okay, so the loyalty is only with the driver. Crazy they had a video ready to be posted on YouTube when the announcement was made official. Yeah, because we knew this was happening for months now. Unfollow Massivo, Red Bull Racing, mass unfollow. These are all people on the F1 page though. Probably a lot of fucking casual fans that just watch F1 for Checo and now we're like, "Oh, Red Bull got rid of him." I wish I could find the comment about Helmut Marko and the racism and all this other shit. Oh god, what is this? Oh, top 10 races. Somebody was going off about how wait. Yeah, here we go. RB wait to sign Checo sponsor smart guys. First, unfollow to RB. This is obviously a different language, but it's translated. Okay. So he's going to unfollow RB, Max and Associates. We followed them through Checo and no more. The humiliation and racism of Helmut Marko and the Verstappen clan is over. Dude, Get your fucking head out of your ass, put the victim card away, and shut the fuck up, okay? It comes down to the fucking race results, man. This dude is not performing anymore, and when you're at a fucking team like Red Bull, who's competing for Constructors' Championships and won 4 Drivers' Championships in a row, the car's clearly good enough. It's not the car, it's you, little bro, all right? Maybe it's you need to take a year off, you need to, get that energy back or whatever for racing. Whatever the fuck it is, dude, it ain't working anymore, okay? It has not worked for half a season now, and enough is enough, dude. Enough is enough. And I'll wrap it up with this. Red Bull has dug this own grave for themselves because the PR and how they've handled all this has been fucking atrocious. From Spa and seeing Ricardo and Verstappen flying away on the private helicopter together off into the sunset, with all the speculation being they were going to be teammates. And then, sorry, I'm sick. And then it coming out that Red Bull tried to get rid of him, and it was blocked by Liberty Media. And then Checo comes out with the thing saying, I'm not going anywhere. And then the whole rest of the season is it's going to be up to Checo to make his own decision, all this bullshit. And nobody being able to say outright, we're looking probably to get rid of him and who this and that. It's been terrible, and it's only going to get worse when they announce who the replacement is. It's only going to get fucking worse because people are going to hate that shit. Because I'm going to be honest, dude. Does Liam Lawson really fucking deserve it? Does he really deserve it? Because I don't think so. I think the Helmut Marko's got a bit of a hard-on for him. I think that's why he's going to get the spot. Yuki's got more experience. He's outperformed both Ricardo and Lawson this season, head-to-head in qualifying and in race results. Maybe it's a matter of sponsorships, but I have to imagine I believe he's the only Japanese driver on the grid, right? Because Guan Yu Zhou's Chinese. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm ignorant. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, though. Being that he's like the only Japanese driver on the grid, he has to have some decent sponsorships and people trying to back him. Just like Checo being the only Mexican driver has the same thing. I don't get why Lawson gets the nod other than just being the favorite of maybe Horner and definitely Helmut Marko. I know Horner, if he got to choose, his hard-on would be putting Ricardo back in there because he fucking loves Ricardo. But I think that ship has sailed at this point. And, yeah, let's wrap it up. Red Bull have dug themselves a grave here. It's not going to be good for them PR-wise dealing with this, but we have a whole fucking couple months off now, so people will forget about it and get over it. This shit happens in the sport, you know what I mean? We all knew it was going to happen, and there's no really good way to do this, but they could have done better. They could have done better. They re-signed him mid-season for a couple years. I also saw something that the day that Sergio Perez joined Red Bull on was, I believe it was December 18th, 2020, which was exactly 4 years ago today. So that's a bit weird too. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I'm glad that he's not going to be the teammate to Verstappen next year because of his recent form. But I don't know that anything they're going to do is going to be an improvement other than the only caveat I'll give to Lawson is he didn't have any major accidents or damage or anything, where Tsunoda's much more inconsistent with that. So maybe they're just factoring in Lawson can just not get damage, fight through the midfield, and not ruin the chance for development throughout the season and still be the guinea pig at that point. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Is it going to be an upgrade, them replacing Checo with one of these guys? Because I don't think it'll be anybody outside of Lawson and Tsunoda, and I don't know if that's necessarily an upgrade. So let me know what you think. Checo's officially out of Red Bull, and I'm sure more drama is going to come with the fucking driver announcement. So I guess it's sorry. I'll finish. I promise I'll finish with this. I guess it's a good thing that they didn't say today, like, oh, Lawson's going to be replaced. Like, imagine if they put like Lawson's going to be replaced before they did all this Checo stuff. I hope they just give it a little bit of time to air out a little bit and then announce it because the waters are hot right now. I wouldn't go in there right now. You know what I mean? So that'll do it. I'll be back with more content. I'm sure there'll be more shit to talk about. And like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back. And all the Lando Norris fans from my last video, all crying about that shit. Keep crying. I don't give a fuck. I'm just pointing out facts. Pointed out that he's trying to gaslight you into thinking the media changes words. They didn't. Keep fucking crying. I don't care. Peace.